Hello, I'm Spirit and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to go ahead and do a tag that's actually been on YouTube for about a year now, so I'm a little bit late jumping on the bandwagon, but I do want to go ahead and do it because I do feel that it would be fun for me to go ahead and do. So the tag is the Get to Know Your Witches tag. And the first question is, does your sun sign, your zodiac sign, portray you correctly? If not, do your other planetary signs? So I've never really been super into astrology, so I actually don't know much about any of my other signs, but I am an Aquarius, that is my sun sign, and sometimes I feel that what I see about Aquarius is accurate to me, and other times I really feel that it isn't. So it's kind of hit or miss. It's definitely never really connected to me in the way that it has connected to some people. Although I'd love to explore it a little bit more as far as like reading about Aquarius and stuff goes, learning more about my my natal charts and things like that. I just don't have the skill set to do all that myself. Next is, what songs bring you the most magical vibes? So I have a few. The first one is Across the Universe by the Beatles, although I really do love the new cover by Evanescence as well. I think the song is very soothing, both versions, and I think that you should definitely check out Evanescence cover of it. It was very good. The next song is Lindsey Sterling's Shatter Me, sang by Lizzie Hale, and I find the song to be very relatable for me. In This Moment's Fighter, which is another very relatable song for me, and A Million Dreams from the Greatest Showman. I think it's a beautiful song and it just inspires me. All of those songs really do help raise energy for me, and so in that way I find them very magical. The next question is, which one of your deities, guides, ancestors is most sarcastic with you? If this doesn't apply to you, which of your tarot or oracle decks is? I haven't really had any of my deities, guides, or ancestors be sarcastic with me. I think because I have a little bit more of a serious personality. I'm not really into like parodies and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not really that kind of a person, I guess. I just don't find a lot of things that people find funny. In fact, things like The Office absolutely tick me off. I just find that kind of humor very repulsive. So in just stupidity in general, but I could go on and on about that. Stupid humor just bugs me. Um, but I do have a tarot deck that is meant to be, or sorry, not tarot deck, forgive me, it's an oracle deck, that is meant to be very sarcastic and have an attitude. And I forget what YouTuber I was watching that presented this particular deck to me, but I actually don't use oracle and tarot decks very often. I actually read tea leaves more than that. That's my form of divination. But this is the deck. Let's see if I can. There. And I do have it out right now, so you can see. This first one says, "Put the fucking phone down." And then the other side says, "Too much screen time is making you awkward and sad. Go talk to a live person." Another one says, "Get some fucking sleep. You are being an ass because you are fucking tired. Face to pillow now." And then, "They broke your heart. Fuck them." So it's very, very, it's got attitude, and that's like the entire point of the Rebel deck. So I do enjoy it. It just kind of brought me some joy to buy it and really um, just even work with it the couple of times that I've worked with it. As far as like why I haven't really worked with tarot decks and oracle decks, I find it that my mind, I really just want to learn all the ins and outs of it before I can like really sit down and do a reading. Like my mind wants to be very logical about it, very scholastic, and memorize all the meanings of each deck and what the creator of that deck specifically meant for it to mean, and then also add my own interpretations onto that. But I have found that it is incredibly difficult to for me to remember all of the different cards and what they mean. So I just kind of gave up on that. But what I did find called to me is tea leaf reading. And I actually really like doing that. I have a special, like, um, tea cup set with, the plates that you sit them on, saucers, I think they're called. And it's made of milk glass. And it's very pretty. They're antique. It's probably the oldest thing I own, and they are incredibly beautiful. And so I use those when I do tea leaf readings. Um, let's see. The next question is your biggest witchy mess up or misinterpretation. So the biggest mess up I would say was when I was in my first circle or coven, that I participated in that when I was 18 years old. I jumped in with people that I didn't work well with, and it ended up being just a huge mess. There was maybe one person in that group that I would say I adore and I would work with again. But for the most part, the Circle of Amethyst and what was it, Amethyst, and I don't remember anymore. It's been so long, but it was a circle that we had put together, and it just kind of blew up. It's just the wrong personalities, and just it didn't work. So I guess my advice would be to never rush into working with a group. Vet one another and make sure that you're going to work well together. Yes, drama does happen, but it doesn't need to be as explosive as what I experienced. Let's see. Would you write a book on your craft spirituality? Why? If you already have, what were your challenges in doing so? So I actually haven't written one. I am in the process of writing one right now, though. The biggest challenges I am having are mostly with myself. I have trouble writing daily and trudging through things. I want both me and my readers to know that I am just not well versed in as I'd like to be. I think that kind of came out kind of awkward. So let me try that again. I have trouble writing daily and trudging through things that I want both me and my readers to know. And I'm not as well versed in some of those things as I'd like to be. So I'm working on doing a lot of research and stuff, and I'm really focusing on those topics so that I know it and can educate people through what I am writing. I think that makes more sense. Sorry. Let's see. If someone wanted to summon you to a circle, what 5 items would they need? So some of mine wouldn't be items so much, but I would need a pile of pillows, hot apple cider spiked with honey liquor, everyone in their pajamas, and a happy and fun attitude, and a hot cookie with ice cream on top. Now, yes, I want a frickin' sleepover party if I'm summoned. We go back to being, my younger self where I used to do things like that, and that would be fantastic. Let's see. If you were a ghost, what place would you haunt? If I were a ghost, I would want to be a traveling haunt. I wouldn't want to really be stuck to one place. So honestly, I'd hate to be confined to one place for my entire afterlife. I would prefer to be attached to an object that travels around with various people so that I can see the world in death that I might not have gotten to see in life. What is the funniest way someone has reacted to finding out you're a witch? I don't really have any funny moments per se, so much as I just had some classic memorable moments. Um, I had my grandfather immediately say, I know a Wiccan. And he was very excited about being able to relate to me being a witch because he knew a Wiccan. I never had the heart to tell him I'm not Wiccan. It was very endearing though, and may he rest in peace. He did just pass away about a week ago, 2 weeks ago now maybe. Anyways, very recently. So we're gonna miss him. He was a good guy. Okay, my second favorite moment was when my mom and I talked about me being a witch for the first time off of the internet. She is pretty absent of me being a witch, but I kind of needed to talk to her about it, so I struck up the conversation and talked to her about, me being a witch. And she's not necessarily entirely angry about it or anything. She just, she's Christian. She raised me to be Christian, and there might be some disappointment there that I'm not Christian, but at the same time, she's my mom and she does love me and she supports me. But it did come with the notion that I worship Satan. And of course, I don't worship Satan. Well, I shouldn't say, of course, I don't, because there definitely are witches out there that do worship Satan. So I guess that's inaccurate. But what I can say is that she believed that all witches worship Satan because of a Satanist she knew growing up, or a satanic witch that she knew growing up, who told her that all witches worship Satan. So she had a misunderstanding that was backed up by a witch, and I guess that was that witch's opinion. But I definitely don't worship Satan. Um, I grew up Christian though, so I do believe in Lucifer, and I do believe in the Christian God still. I just don't believe necessarily in what the Bible subscribes for my life, and I think that's um, where I'll end that part of the conversation, because I think I could make an entire video on why it is I believe what I believe and what I believe. So I'll go ahead and there. But it was just a good conversation with my mom, because it was maybe a relief for her to know that I don't worship Satan. That maybe I won't be going to hell. So there's that. Do you have any superstitions? Not really, no. I'm a pretty practical person, and superstitions have always just kind of seemed silly to me. I've never really understood the concept of throwing salt over your shoulder if you spill it or anything like that. So I'm not really a superstitious person, unless, of course, you consider all magic superstition. And then in that case, I'm very superstitious. But as far as like superstitious practices go, I've never really done that. Let's see. If you could possess any fantasy magic, what power would it be? I'd want to be able to travel between the different realms of the multiverse and to live forever so that I could see it all. And I know that that's kind of two powers, but I kind of feel like go hand in hand. I want to be able to see all the cultures and experience more of the fantasy, to experience magic in ways that we can't experience it here on Earth, just because of the dynamic of our realm of existence. and to be able to step outside of that and learn more about alien, beings, about, other like fantasy races, that would be, wonderful for me, to be able to do. I would love that so much. So that would be my power, to travel between the realms of the multiverse and live forever so I can see it all. What is something random on your altars? So I actually went to my altar when I initially read this, and I found the two items on my altar that I would say are kind of random. I picked up these little, let's see if I can, it's a little spider. And there's the counterpart. I can hit the other one's companion. Um, they These two spider companions that I picked them up at the Phoenix Pagan Pride event a few years back. I used to be horrified of spiders and used to kill them if I saw them. I'm happy to say, though, that that phase of my life has kind of concluded. I'm not as terrified of spiders as I used to be. I actually think they're quite fascinating, even though I don't want them to touch me. If they could stay outside of my house, that would be fantastic. But I have gotten over the need to just kill any bug that I see, and that's been a very conscious effort, and it's still something I'm working on. I do occasionally, you know, kill things thoughtlessly that get into my house because I just don't like bugs. I'm working on it, guys. Anyways, so that's the random items from my altar that I figured I'd share. Let's see, the next question. If one of the YouTubers you watched was a genie and they could grant you 3 wishes within their power, who would it be and what wishes? Can't be for more wishes. So the YouTuber I would choose would actually be the first YouTuber that I ever started following, that I ever started consistently watching, and that is Azura Dragon Feather. Or Feather. So she spells it Feather, though, like Fae, and then Ther, so it's a really unique spelling. I really like that. But Dragon Feather. And let's see. If I had to make the 3 wishes, I would wish for a stronger connection to dragons, because she is a practitioner of the draconic path, which is an amazing path. I do recommend studying it. There are a few books that you could, and I have them sitting next to me, so I'll actually share them with you. The other one is in my room. It's Dancing with Dragons, but it's by the same author as this book here, DJ Conway, who passed away just a couple years ago. So we won't be seeing any more books by her, but she did do quite a few lovely books while she was alive. The other book that Dragon Feather, I keep reading it and not saying it right, I'm sorry, Dragon Feather. But the other book, and this is definitely a left-handed path book, is this one here. I just bought it about a week ago, so I haven't really read it yet, but from what I have looked into it, it's what a lot of people would consider, definitely dark magic. It does work a little bit with the concepts of Lilith and Lucifer and Asmodan. Anyways, a lot of dark figures. Not necessarily that I think that they should be feared or anything, but definitely a lot of people would consider it dark work. But those are, some of the books on dragons that I do currently have. So I am working on that connection myself, but I would definitely ask for a stronger connection to dragons and other astral beings. For the second one I would ask for would be for a fresh start in my financial and professional life. I am struggling in life right now to kind of kick myself back into gear and like really pick up on life. And I just lost my job about 6 weeks ago now, and I unfortunately got COVID in that time, so I kind of got stunted on looking for a job. It was terrible. I ended up with COVID pneumonia, so I am still even recovering from that experience. I'm still coughing, and they said it could be quite a while before I fully recover from the pneumonia. But I am thankfully well enough now that I'm able to actually start working on my professional life again, and hopefully I will see myself in another job here soon. But a fresh start in that area, an opportunity in that area, I could definitely see myself making a wish to get that step up. And then I would totally wish to free her from her genie bondage, because Dragon Feather is just too damn cool to be a slave to, asshole people forever. And let's face it, she'd end up in the hands of assholes. And any genie, that I can, think of, any story that I can think of, that's like, terrible, terrible people end up, getting a hold of genies. And I would hate for her to have that kind of a life. So I would definitely wish her free. That's my third wish. Let's see. If you could instantly become an expert in any part of your craft and spirituality, what would it be? I would want to become an expert on myself. And I say that because in my practice, which I practice a balance, or I try to practice a balance between the left-handed path and the right-handed path. And I believe that you have to work on yourself before you can really understand how to, work with other people. Like, you can't be starving and, give money donations to other people, or you could, but it wouldn't be helpful to you. If you're starving and dying, then it's impractical to give up what you have. So you have to take care of you before you can take care of others. So in that way, it is part of my spirituality to study myself, to become a better expert on myself. So I would want to know the ins and outs of my anatomy, my physiology, my psychology, my spirituality. I want to know everything about myself so I can master myself and overcome my personal obstacles. Let's see. When you die, what do you think will happen to your soul? I believe that, excuse me, I believe that we all go to, well, not all of us, I suppose, but I believe that I will go to a place of rest, a sort of heaven, until I'm ready to reincarnate and live my next life and learn my next lessons. So I don't know what that place is called. I don't really know what that place looks like for me. It's just kind of what I believe will happen. It's definitely something I am sorting out in my own practice. It's something that I want to explore more. I have plenty of books on the topic of other worlds and underworlds, and I like reading about that kind of stuff, and so there's that. Let's see. Where do you see yourself spiritually in the next 5 years? I presently am going through a pagan year and a day program, which I had to restart because of COVID. I actually had started a program, I want to say it was early 2020, like maybe January 2020, and I had gone to a couple of the classes, and then COVID struck, and we were all ordered to stay home and wear masks and be reclusive and just suffer miserably for over a year now. I am so glad that these vaccines are out, guys. I'm like practically going insane. But my ultimate goal with the program is to educate myself, yes, but I also want to become ordained because I want to become a chaplain so I can work, so I can do hospital and prison work. Um, I am also going through a program at grayschool.net that I would love to have finished within the next 5 years. It's actually a 7-year program. I've been in it for a year, but I kind of got distracted, so I didn't finish my first year on time. So I'm working through that now as a second year. But I am doing that program at grayschool.net, which studies their path of wizardry, and it is, I don't know that I would say it is a right hand path or a left hand path. I think it is very much kind of encompasses that middle path. I think that's what it strives for, from what I can see. I'm definitely not an expert on that, and if anyone from the school that teaches there, or if the author, ends up seeing this, he wants to comment, then definitely. But I think that wizardry, the way that they teach it, kind of focuses on a balance, and so I don't particularly think that it is right or left-handed path. If it falls into either of them, I'd say it definitely leans towards the right-hand path. But anyways, I'm working on that at my own slow pace, and I'd love to finish that in the next 5 years. I also have a lifetime membership at witchschool.com that I bought I don't know, a decade ago, and I slowly worked through that. So I'd love to do a little more work with them as well, just because I'm a sucker for punishment, I guess. I have myself kind of overcommitted at times, and well, it is what it is, I guess. I'm learning to, like I said before, kind of master myself and figure out my life. Another thing that I started doing that I kind of got pushed off doing because of my life circumstances. I went through a divorce, and it kind of messed me up emotionally because, quite frankly, when you're coming out of an abusive relationship, and it was a very abusive relationship, it there's a lot of guilt for me. There's a lot of irritation with my ex, with his family, and I don't know. I kind of struggle still. Not that I'm saying that him and his family are entirely to blame for everything. I'm definitely not saying that. There was definitely a give and take, but I'm definitely not responsible for the physical abuse that I went through. And maybe I'll talk about that a little more in another video, because maybe it'll be, something worth sharing, worth getting off my chest. But for now, I think that's all I'll talk about regarding that. But anyways, so I started going through Cherry Hills Community Ministry Program, and I kind of paused that because I was going through some emotional stuff, and I just couldn't focus on the program. And I'm hoping to be able to go back and finish that as well. Other things that I'd love to be doing within the next 5 years regarding my spirituality would be daily journaling. I would love to. I have tons of journals. It's like this entire stack right here are various journals that I have. Some of them are like journal prompt books, as it were. Like I have 50 lists for happiness, 50 lists for calms, or 52, I'm sorry. And then the Severed Moon, a year-long journal of magic. And I've got a hero's journal over here, which is more like kind of a planner slash journal. And so they're not all like just journals. I've got one for, therapy work. I've got one for just a regular generic journal. I've got my book of shadows. I've got what I call my fun journal. Anyways, I journal, but I would love to be doing it daily is the thing. And I definitely haven't been doing it daily. I will go months without journaling at all, and then I will go on like a journaling spree. Um, Also, I would love to be reading daily. I've got a ton of books on various pagan paths and stuff that I would actually love to complete. And I used to be an incredibly avid reader. I won reading awards. I placed in reading awards in high school, and I used to love reading. It was quite a passion of mine, quite an escapism even. And I just at some point kind of lost it, and I don't know what happened or why it happened. It just kind of slipped away from me. So now I like read at half the speed I used to, and it's been, kind of a complicated journey. But the other thing and the last thing is that I would love to be making 1 or 2 YouTube videos each week. Um, and this is my third, but like I said, I also don't have a job right now, so I have the opportunity to make more content at the moment. So we'll see. It'll probably slow down. I'll probably not post as much as I have this week. I think I'm just a little excited that I finally got the courage to actually step up and actually start creating content, and I think that has been great for me. But it's also given me something to do. It's making me feel productive and making me feel like I actually have a purpose while I'm looking for a job. So there's that. Anyways, that was all of the questions, and I think I talked about a little bit more than it asked me to go over, but hey, it was all about getting to know me a little bit. So hopefully this helped. If you have any more questions about me, or who I am, who I am as a person, who I am as a pagan, or just any questions for me in general, go ahead and put them down below. Go ahead and click that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ding that bell for notifications. And I will see you guys next time.